Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom. A single moment when embraced with presence can echo through a lifetime. That's the power of a hug, not in the act itself, but in how we receive it. In a world where people touch without truly connecting, a Stoic man understands that even a simple hug can be a language of the soul. It's not just two bodies meeting, it's a pause in time, a window of presence, a rare exchange of energy. The way you respond to that moment speaks volumes, not only about your emotional intelligence, but about the weight of your presence. When a woman hugs you, she is silently asking, "Are you here with me, or are you somewhere else?" And if your energy answers, "I am here," calm and grounded, you leave an imprint she won't forget. Not because you tried to impress her, but because you gave her the rarest gift in modern life, your full, undivided presence. Let's explore 6 principles that allow you to respond to a hug in a way that lingers in her mind, long after the moment has passed. When a woman hugs you, most men respond reactively, either with excitement, nervousness, or overcompensation. But the Stoic man does none of these. He anchors himself in stillness. He allows the moment to unfold without trying to control it. His presence is not hurried, not shaken, and certainly not performative. He understands that the way he holds himself in the hug speaks louder than the hug itself. Stillness is not stiffness. It's not being cold or robotic. It's an inner calm that says, "I am here. I am grounded. I am not lost in my thoughts or driven by impulse." When you anchor yourself in this energy, the woman you're embracing will feel it. She may not be able to explain it, but she will sense something different, something rare. It's the difference between a boy trying to impress and a man simply existing in his truth. In that stillness, you are not chasing connection. You are becoming it. You are not gripping her tighter to make a point. You're allowing her to feel safe, not consumed. And that subtle difference shifts everything. A woman may forget how long the hug lasted, but she will not forget how it made her feel. And when that feeling is peace, presence, and safety, it stays with her. It follows her into her thoughts long after you've walked away. Stillness is power. In a world of noise, motion, and anxiety, the man who can remain grounded becomes magnetic. He shows her that not all men are hurried, restless, or seeking validation. Some are simply there, fully, silently, and without need. And that presence speaks more than any word ever could. That's how you stay on her mind without ever trying to. In the midst of a hug, most men overlook the one thing that reveals everything: their breath. Breathing is subtle, yet it speaks volumes. A man's breath tells the truth his words often try to hide. Fast, shallow, erratic breathing communicates nervousness, desperation, or excitement that hasn't yet been mastered. But calm, steady breathing, that tells her something entirely different. It tells her you are grounded, composed, and fully at peace in your own skin. When you regulate your breathing during a hug, you're not just calming yourself, you're calming her. Without saying a word, you're transmitting a silent message. I'm not shaken, I'm not rushing, I'm right here. She may not notice it consciously, but her body will respond to it. Because women are sensitive to energy. They tune in to signals most men don't realize they're sending. A Stoic man is always aware of the state of his inner world. He knows that in stillness and breath, he holds influence. Controlled breathing is an extension of self-control. It's proof that he is not ruled by urges or emotional spikes. It also allows him to remain present, not lost in overthinking or performance anxiety. Just here, breathing, being, holding, with total intention. And this changes the energy of the entire interaction. Suddenly, the hug is no longer an unconscious gesture. It becomes a shared experience of peace. It becomes memorable. Because, while most people live life in a rush, barely aware of their own breath, the man who slows down becomes unforgettable. She won't just remember the hug, she'll remember how calm she felt in your arms. And that calmness, that's what brings her back in thought again and again. You didn't chase her attention, you became the stillness she can't forget. Most men try to fill every quiet moment with words. Jokes, compliments, unnecessary chatter, all in an attempt to avoid discomfort. But what they don't understand is that silence, when used with intention, can be more powerful than anything they could say. In the space of a hug, words become irrelevant. What matters is presence, and presence is best communicated through silence. When you respond to a hug with stillness and silence, you invite her into your world of calm. You're not rushing to impress. You're not making it awkward by asking if it was too long or trying to be funny. You're simply there, fully, quietly. In that silence, she feels safe. She feels your restraint, your control, your depth, and most importantly, your lack of need for external validation. Stoic men know that silence isn't emptiness, it's confidence. It's the art of holding space without trying to fill it. It's the ability to let a moment breathe, to allow emotions to settle naturally. When you hold a woman in your arms and say nothing, but your energy is calm, solid, and composed, she senses something rare. She senses a man who doesn't need to be loud to be powerful, a man who doesn't mistake noise for connection. In that quiet moment, she begins to wonder, not in confusion, but in intrigue. Who is this man who doesn't need to speak to be felt? Why does his silence feel more comforting than most people's words? And just like that, you've left a mark. Not through force, but through mastery. Through the rare and beautiful act of being fully present in complete silence. That kind of experience doesn't fade quickly. It lingers in her memory, quietly, persistently, and powerfully. When most men receive a hug, they feel the physical closeness but miss the emotional message. They focus on touch, posture, or how long it lasts. But a Stoic man looks deeper. He isn't just embracing her body, he's tuned in to what her energy is saying. Every hug carries an emotion. It could be affection, vulnerability, a cry for comfort, or even hesitation. The ability to read beyond the surface is what separates the mindful from the impulsive. This level of awareness requires discipline. You must quiet your inner dialogue, resist the temptation to turn the moment into ego gratification, and instead, open yourself to her emotional state. What does her body language say about her mood? Is she holding tightly, needing reassurance? Is she light in her touch, simply acknowledging your presence? Does she linger as if hoping you'll understand? Something unspoken? The Stoic man doesn't react, he observes. He listens not just with his ears, but with his intuition. Because he understands that most communication is silent, most signals are emotional. When you respond to a woman's embrace with emotional intelligence, not with lust, not with awkwardness, but with silent understanding, you create something memorable. You create trust. She may not be able to articulate it, but she will feel it. That rare sense that someone actually sees her, not just physically, but emotionally. And that feeling is not common in today's rushed, distracted world. So when she finds it in you, it will echo. She'll carry that experience long after the hug is over. You didn't just share a moment. You met her where she was emotionally, without saying a word. That's Stoic connection. Quiet, precise, powerful. In every interaction, especially intimate ones like a hug, most men unconsciously cling to an expectation. They want a reaction. They hope for a spark. They crave affirmation. But the Stoic man operates from a higher ground. He lets go of the outcome. He embraces the moment for what it is, not for what it might lead to. He doesn't need a sign, a compliment, or a follow-up message. His fulfillment comes from knowing that he showed up fully, authentically, and without grasping. Detachment is not indifference. It is strength. It is the discipline of doing your part, expressing presence and respect, then releasing the need to control what happens next. When you hug her, you're not trying to change her mind, make her stay, or impress her into thinking more of you. You're simply being fully calmly with nothing to prove. And ironically, it is this detachment that often stays with her. Because most men are seeking something: validation, attention, reciprocation. But the man who can connect without demanding anything in return is unforgettable. He becomes a mystery, not because he's playing games, but because he genuinely does not need anything from her to feel whole. This creates a different energy, One she's not used to, one that feels grounded, non-possessive, and deeply secure. In a world full of men trying to win her affection, the one who doesn't need to is the one who lingers in her mind. Because he didn't try to own the moment, he respected it. He let it pass like a breeze through the trees, noticed, appreciated, and then released without resistance. That is the power of detachment, and that is the energy that makes you unforgettable, without ever trying to be. How you end a moment leaves a deeper impression than how you begin it. After the hug, many men fumble. They linger too long, say something awkward, or break the moment with nervous energy. But the Stoic man knows that departure is an art. When he walks away, he does so with calm confidence, not with hesitation or hope. He doesn't look back seeking reassurance. He doesn't ask, "Was that okay?" or search for signs. He simply leaves, steady, composed, and centered within himself. This exit says more about him than any words could. It signals emotional independence. It tells her without speaking that his peace is not tied to her reaction, that the moment was appreciated, but it doesn't define him. And this quiet power lingers. Because most people are used to others trying to stretch out connection, trying to hold on, trying to make something happen. But when you walk away with grace, you flip the script. Confidence in silence. Confidence in ending the moment without needing more. Confidence in trusting that what you gave was enough. That's what stays in her mind. Not because you were trying to impress her, but because you weren't. You moved with certainty, with presence, and then you moved on. A Stoic man understands that true power is not in chasing moments but in owning them and letting them go. He knows the value of a peaceful exit. It speaks to self-respect. It speaks to restraint. And to a woman who's used to being chased, this energy is disarming. She'll remember not just the hug, but how you left. Not rushed, not needy, just quiet, present and gone. That kind of ending writes itself into memory, and she'll play it back long after you've walked away.